I see some are joining. And as you guys are coming in, today is day 2 of our Bullying Prevention Month, and our guest and speaker will be our ambassador, Michael Raymond-James. Yesterday was Sean, today is Mikey. And as soon as he comes on, I will grab him and we will go ahead and do a live. If you have any questions, keep them towards the end. That way, we're not trying to find the questions all during out the live. And then also just keep them on topic. This whole entire month we're going to be talking about different areas and arenas of bullying and stuff like that. So we're just going to try to keep the questions on topic to bullying and cyberbullying and mental illness, anything resembling everything that we do here. We just want to keep the questions on topic. I know everybody has other questions and things like that, but we just want to kind of stay on topic this month because it's really important every day of the year, but we want to really highlight, especially nowadays in today's world, what's going on and everything and bullying. So as soon as Mikey comes on, I'll grab him and we will start. Like I said, any questions, just wait till kind of like towards the end and then just type them in like towards the last 10 minutes. Let me see, I don't see him yet. Oh, there he is. Let me grab him. As I throw my phone. Alright, I'm gonna grab you, Mikey. Hold on. After I throw the phone, I'm gonna grab him. Sheesh. Oops. Apparently I invited somebody else. What the heck? Alright. I don't know what happened there. I apparently invited somebody else. Hey, there you are.
Hey!
What's going on?
What's up, dude?
Oh my god, I'm so not used to that beard.
Get used to it, mama.
I know. It looks good. I'm just not used to it.
The virus is going away with the beard staying. It's happening.
No, it looks good. I'm just so used to seeing you like with the shorter one. I'm just like, oh my god.
I know. It's a bit scary. I've just gone full on mountain man,
A lot of people have, and I think it's great. I think it's interesting to see people in different looks, and it's just it's fun and it's interesting. I cut my own hair, and I think I did a pretty good job.
I've done that for years, man. I just nothing matters anymore. You know what I mean? Like, just whatever,
It's kind of true. How are you doing over by you?
Good, just trying to figure it out like everybody else is. It's so weird, man. It's such strange times, and we're doing distance learning with our 8-year-old, and then we have a 3-year-old too, so that makes it a little extra fun. And so it's just a lot of it seems like there's a lot going on, but nothing really. I don't know, man. I feel like a hamster on one of those wheels, just keep running, going nowhere,
Yeah, it's kind of just like the Twilight Zone. That's what I kind of feel like. It's just like stuck in the Twilight Zone, and like one episode that just keeps playing over and over.
Yeah,
and it keeps getting worse.
How are you doing?
I have my ebbs and flows. There's been some ups and downs, some fun health stuff, some craziness, some chaos, a lot of stuff I'm grateful for. So I try to kind of concentrate on that. But, it's just, kind of like you feel it's kind of just like the anxiety started to kick in after a while.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like I'm going to need therapy or something because like I just was kind of like just banging into a wall at some point. Like there was just too many things happening one after the other. And then I think when I lost Bella, that was kind of the thing that just kind of threw me over the edge.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, that's it. I mean, there goes, my sanity right out the window. So, it was.
And it's hard. It's, and grieving is weird now too. It's just everything's just so hard. I have on a more optimistic note. I have started a journey with transcendental meditation, and just as a way to kind of deal with some of the anxiety while socially distancing at home, and I've found it incredibly helpful. I don't know if you've tried it, but it really, a friend of mine back in Los Angeles who's like she's just one of the most comfortable in her own skin people I've ever met. You know what I mean? So at one with herself, to the point where I couldn't understand. She was like human. You know what I mean? Like it was, because me, I'm just a rolling ball of insecurities and and anxiety and depression and stuff. And so I asked her if there was like some trick or whatever, and just sort of kind of not expecting her to have an actual answer, but she mentioned transcendental meditation, and I just kind of filed it back away. And in New York, have some friends too who are just like the most centered people I've ever been around. And I asked them, I was like, "What's your steez, man? Like, what's help me out. I'm trying to figure it out. I can't, it's been rum for a long time, and that can't work forever,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I was told it was, for them it was transcendental meditation too, and so I was like, man, I need to. I feel like the universe is kind of pushing me in that direction. I needed to at least explore it and be open to it, and so my wife and I tried it, and we took a class, and honestly, I mean, it was just beginning, but like the results are I can breathe easier, there's a much more calm and less anxious all the time.
That's great. Yeah, no, I have heard of it, and I do all that stuff. I do, like, I don't know if you've ever heard of sound bowl healing, but I do that too. And I actually bought some of my own bowls, but there were some people that were doing it online, and meditation and yoga, but I hit a wall to where none of that was working. That was the problem. When
Yeah.
I hit that wall where none of that was working, and it just became too much, and I kind of just went over. I was like, all right, now I need to I need to center myself and get more balance, because normally I can get back balance, but I wasn't. And I was like, okay, if I don't self-care, I can't really do anything else for anybody else.
Yeah.
So, but I heard that works wonders, and I've done. I took like a couple of energy healing courses online, and it's really cool, and it's kind of like balancing your body and your energies out. It's great, and honestly, I think at this point we're ready. Any of us are willing to try anything to balance our brains out.
Yeah. And I mean, the world is so out of balance right now. You know what I mean? It's just like any port in a storm. Like try it all. Try it all, because I can't just keep doing the Guinness and the rum as much as I'd love to, but it's hard to do the other things like raise children that way. So.
Yes, like get up, move around.
Yeah.
Because when Sean, like yesterday, and when he has this new backdrop, it's like a Hawaiian beach, and I was like, I'm just gonna live through Sean's backdrop, because like he sits in front of it, and we kind of we got to talking about you, and then we almost fell into like, we're just gonna have a whole live, and Mikey's gonna be like, so what'd you talk about yesterday? You, because we started talking about you, and they were like, Mikey's so great, and Mikey's so wonderful, and we were talking about this school and you teaching, and we were like, Sean's like, okay, we'll just end up talking about Mikey the whole time. So
Yeah.
So we ended up having to stop, because we were both just going commenting like, oh yeah, and I'm like, all right, well, the whole live is gonna be about Mikey, and he's on tomorrow, so I guess we should stop.
That feels good. I love you guys. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, we love and adore you too. So that's why we were getting stuck, and we were just like, okay, I was like, we could sit here all day, so we'll just kind of move on to the next thing. But yeah, I think it's great that you're going to be the teaching at his school, because I mean, your acting is just, my God, phenomenal. That's how it got brought up, because I wanted to see how his first day went when I was seeing how he was doing, and then Flynn joined, and it was funny because he came in for a little bit, but those kids are so cute.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I mean,
awesome.
all your guys' kids are adorable. They're all adorable. But yeah, he was just, that's how we got started on it, because I was like, that's great. I mean, that's really cool. It's kind of something to keep everybody maybe off, not offline because it's still virtual, but maybe off of social media where things are very like kind of toxic and very negative and in many different ways right now. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing for everybody. So
Totally toxic, man. I mean, I realize the irony of us having this conversation on social media, but you can use social media for good, but it can be. I mean, I really believe that it can be addiction forming and habit forming, and then needing that buzz of the like or the
yeah,
your sense of self-worth gets tied into some bizarre thing, and obviously it opens such a portal to bullying, and that yeah, it's look, it's a tool like a chainsaw. You know what I mean? It can be incredibly helpful, but it can also snatch your life. You know what I mean? If you don't use it with care and respect.
absolutely. And that's some of the things that I wanted to talk about, because I know you feel strongly about that. Because I know, I mean, I see people less and less online, and I've actually personally been less. I mean, when I come online, I'm doing my things. I mean, and if I do, it's on Instagram, because Instagram, honestly, is probably the best world to kind of like get a little lost in, because I look at art, I'm looking at different things and stuff like that. So it's like, it's not as like, if you go on Twitter, it's just like a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
That's just, I go on that for like 3 seconds and I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a panic attack. I have to go off. So
Yeah.
I'm going to get angry and I'm going to say something that I shouldn't say. So let me just go off. But I mean,
Yeah, man. Look, even on Instagram, if I post something about Breonna Taylor or Black Lives Matter, because of course they do. You know what I mean? To say that they don't is crazy. I mean, like or Ruth Bader Ginsburg, whatever. I mean, like it could invite a
there's a,
lot of toxicity. So I mean, I stay off it um, quite a bit. I mean, it's not social media is a tool, but it's so far removed from my life. It's barely on my radar. You know what I mean? Like, it's dude, we had four houses. We had four trees hit the house, and the hurricane Isaias came through, and
right.
I've been spending like the last 4 weeks just like chainsawing and hauling and splitting wood, and it's crazy, but that's been my world. You know what I mean? And we averted disaster by literal millimeters, but now we're good, and we got a bunch of firewood for the winter. So
There you
you know,
go.
God bless the universe.
Yeah,
But
mysterious ways. But and, well, thank God everybody was safe. I mean, that's most important, obviously, always. But
yeah,
yeah, here's the thing. Like, it's like, I think that we're getting into, I think I just said something and I posted it not that long ago. And I said, and me and you have actually had this conversation. I think it was actually around when we first met and you were showing me the short, and I'll bring it up because it's a good topic. Empathy, like, people get a lot of words confused, I think, these days. And empathy is, I feel, with social media, is completely lost, because you really don't learn empathy through electronic means and through social
yeah,
media.
yeah,
And I know you and I brought that up because we were talking about you and your kids, and we were talking about parents letting their kids on social media, having phones and technology. And I know that you were adamantly against that with your children.
yeah. Dogmatic. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's uh, look, I like cars and motorcycles too, but I'm not going to hand my kid the keys to a Corvette when they're 12. You know what I mean? Like they're it's just not age appropriate. They're not ready to handle it. My kids. I'm speaking about my kids. Period. But I do think that there is something to too much too soon for so many kids, and I get it as a parent, man. I know it because I know that pull to just like, here, take the iPad, man. You know what I mean? It's a babysitter. It's a pacifier. It's a, God, please let me just have 10 minutes of whatever. And it's hard. It is hard, especially with distance learning. And, you know, we're all together all the time. And the kids, they can't go to playgrounds as much. They can't go, that you can't take them as many places. And so you're cooped up a lot. And I know how strong that pull can be. But I just think that there's other avenues to kind of try to pilot down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so grateful to live where I live, sort of out in the woods, because we got some acres, and the kids can go. They build forts.
Oh, great.
They play with sticks. They, you know what I mean. They're always looking for little animals and insects and stuff like that. And I mean, that's just the kind of I'd way rather have them doing that than having a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's the last thing. We don't need more influencers. That right now we're having a problem with, like, you see it, there's an issue with them every other day. But no, I mean,
like the comment section on your, you know what I mean? Like, you don't.
Yeah,
my kids aren't ready to. They're not mature enough to be able to, take that kind of, because there's going to be abuse. There just is, it sucks, but that's the reality of it. I mean, people, I think that I saw a meme. I don't know if Tyson said it or not, but I saw a meme of Mike Tyson, a picture of Tyson, and something to the effect of, social media has made y'all get way too comfortable with disrespecting folks without getting punched in the face, and that's kind of how I came up. It was that we didn't have social media, but some of the things people say to each other on social media, you never would say or hear in real life. You know what I mean?
Not even close.
Yeah.
Well, like
What's
you.
up, Linz? I just got a text from Linz. I can't open it.
Oh yeah, he was on here.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he still is, but I grew up without social media. I had a beeper. I didn't have a cell phone until I was like 15. I mean, and back when I was a kid, the cell phones were like bricks with like little antennas. I mean,
yeah.
And we had Nintendos and we had television, MySpace, and I was older. I was like, I probably like 16. I don't even know what that, for 15, 16. I wasn't, 10, and I kind of agree. I don't believe that little kids should be on social media. I don't really see what they would even do on it. If you're heavily monitoring your child, and like you say, okay, I'll give you a Facebook so you could talk to family and like your little friends, and that's all that's on there, and it's you can only go on it when I'm looking at it with you. I mean, fine, that's fine, whatever you want to do, but like, there's like, I've seen 13-year-olds on Twitter that have, and I'm just like, why is a 13-year-old on Twitter? Because when I look at the stuff on Twitter, I'm just like, I just don't get it. I mean, like, I never had but I found plenty of things to do. I was outside playing sports. I was outside playing with my friends. I was running around the woods. I was climbing trees. I was building forts. I was skateboarding. I was doing, I think that's the problem. It's like kids are not outside enough, right now. I get it. I mean, but we could,
Yeah. My buddy Donald Logue, he's like, we were up in Oregon he's got a ranch up there, like 600 acres or something crazy. And I just remember like one of his kids being like, "Dad, I'm bored," and he's like, "Well, dude, you're boring then, man. Like, there's so much to do outside. We got four-wheelers and there's fishing poles and there's hikes and there's like, just figure it out, man."
Four-wheelers alone are fun. Like,
yeah, totally. But I want to make sure I don't come off as preachy. And look, everybody's got their way of doing it, and whatever works for you is cool. I mean, I have heard. I think boundaries are important. You know what I mean? And I think that I've heard some people like, well, we've talked to our teens, and we try to set time limits as far as how much social media use you can have each day. And, we ask them, like, how much do you think is a good time? And they usually give you a pretty reasonable response. They're not going to be like 27 hours. I think,
No.
I think an hour a day or 2 hours, whatever. I think an hour a day works, and that's great. It works for them. My thing with extremely limited screens works for me, and my kids. And they watch movies, but we just don't do the phones and the stuff.
Yeah, I think everybody's different. Look, I have someone that I know that he said, like, I would probably let my kids by a certain age go because he felt, and the idea that I got was, because I don't remember how it came up, but he said he felt that you bubble your kids too much if you don't let them expose them to life. But I don't really feel that life is social media. If we're referring to life as social media nowadays, we're in trouble. Because
that's not life. That's a parallel universe. It's not. That's not life. What does that mean? That life never existed until 2013 or whenever this shit started?
Yeah, I think Facebook was like 2007. I don't even know. I have no idea, because when I first was asked to join Facebook by someone, they were like, "Oh, join Facebook." I'm like, "What is Facebook?" Like,
I always get when certain people hear sort of my approach to it. But computers are the future, the present and the future, and don't you think that they need to be learning how to operate? I'm like, dude, it's like toothpaste, man. It's like how to use toothpaste, right? If my 71-year-old dad can get on his iPad and his iPhone, which he does all the time, and anybody can learn it, you know what I mean? Like, certainly a teenager when it's appropriate, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not going to hand it to an 8-year-old.
yeah, exactly. Look, I've seen 3-year-olds sitting in front of a giant computer like this playing, and I'm just like, they're smarter. Kids are smarter than people give them credit for. You put them in front of a computer nowadays, they'll hack the entire thing.
Figure it out. Yeah.
They're like
writing code in 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
It's like, forget about it. Like, people are worried about,
turn this fucking thing on. Like,
they know things better than some adults. But I like what you mentioned earlier. And it's something I also bring up quite often, and I think it has to do a lot with bullying that I see, and I know it does. The craving for attention and validation because we don't feel whole. Like when you were saying, people want that like, so they're tagging and they're posting and they're basing their entire day on a like or a comment and I know a lot of people have said before, other advocates I've spoken to said they feel that that's a little bit unhealthy because you're kind of like relying your day and your existence and validation of who you are and what you're doing based on these type of things.
It's totally unhealthy. Not a little bit. It's completely unhealthy.
Oh,
if you're basing like your emotional state on how many likes you get, that's why we have so much more anxiety, so much more depression with young people. And it's necessary to, it's just fucking is. It's just necessary to break away from that, realize it is what it is, but there's a whole real world life out there that needs to be lived and needs to be explored and, thoroughly investigated. You know what I mean? There's that line I read a lot of Dr. Seuss to my kids, but there's lots of fun things that are funny. You know what I mean? Like, get out there and find them. Yeah. There's a lot. By the way, I've never done one of these things before, so I don't. So just forgive the ridiculous question, but there's a lot of comments I see like flying by. I can't see any of them.
Yeah, some of them are just like saying hello. Some are sending emojis.
Are they just gone forever? Like once they pass by, or
no? You like if you put your finger on your screen and you scroll up and down, and you scroll and you throw the phone, and you throw your phone upside down like you shake your phone kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. Comments come back. if you scroll with your finger up and down, you could like, if you miss something, you can like scroll back up and see it. Sometimes they have questions. Sometimes they're just commenting on the conversation.
Well, I feel bad. I don't want anybody to feel ignored or anything. I can't make out any of the words.
Well,
Or,
let's see.
but that's why I was wondering if there's if it gets saved anyway, like later you can look back at it and.
Oh yeah, we save it to the Instagram page, and then I also upload a copy to the our YouTube channel.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Bingo.
Like Sean's is on here from yesterday, but I don't know how much it fully shows. But yeah, if I see a question, I throw it at. But I don't see any questions right now. Just the pressure is from friends and wanting to be normal. So sad that our children are growing up in this mess. If I could say life happens, but if you give a child a good childhood, they would be good teenagers after all, because they will know what's wrong and right. Which, we have the patience for for the technologically challenged, Michael.
A Luddite, man.
Well, you remember when I busted your chops on that story when it said, I forgot what it said about tech, and I'm like, tech savvy?
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
something new.
I mean, that obviously, it was sent in jest, like it was said in jest, because there was a lot of tech problems on that deal. But it's funny because I got a lot of messages from people who know me, like, what is that about?
When I saw that, I was like, tech savvy.
Yeah.
It was a cute little giggle, though, and it was funny. You're like, I know, right? It was just funny, but let me see. But I don't know. Like I kind of agree with the whole thing. Like I think social media is great for good and connecting, and hell, I mean, half of the people that I got as advocates, I reached out to on social media at the beginning. But
Yeah.
but but it's great. Look, it can be a beautiful tool for many things. But I mean, lately, and what I've seen and what it has become extremely toxic. And I don't think that's an environment even for adults. I don't even want to be in the environment. I've seen adults behave worse than I've seen younger people behave. And even with the validation thing, I've seen adults do that. And I think that we're kind of just building into this very unhealthy existence of validation that we need from people that we don't know.
Right.
And it's great to like be into things and be fans of things and supporting, and great. I think that's all wonderful. I really do. I think it's fabulous because obviously we need that in the entertainment world and all that stuff. I just think that when we get so far into it where it's kind of like you said, where people go into a depression, or people mentally kind of get a little distracted, I think that's where it becomes like full stop, where we need to kind of realize that we need to love ourselves first before and then that's where also bullying starts, because somebody sees something and then they get upset or jealous and bullying, and then they're going back and forth, and everybody's trying to prove this and prove that, and it's just all over social media, and it's really sad to see, honestly. And I just think that it's kind of getting I just think it's kind of getting out of hand more than it ever has before, because we're so ingrained into social media. And somebody just actually brought up, and Mikey, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, you should watch it. It's on Netflix. It's called The Social Dilemma.
I did. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, it was disturbing when I watched it, but it
Yeah,
was.
it is. I'm grateful that that they gave some possible solutions by the end of it. After sort of addressing how incredibly toxic it can be. But it really, I mean, it's. I don't know. I really responded to it because it's kind of where I've been for a while. Really in that same vein. That it's so yeah, I really responded to that.
Yeah.
I also think, honestly, I mean, the divisiveness of the country writ large, online and offline, is having an effect on, I mean, on everyone, but on also certainly on kids. When grown-ups and leaders can address each other with respect, and have to go to the lowest common denominator, and to score cheap political points to their base, whatever base that is, and we're also, I mean, reality, as a human race, never before in the history of time has there been more information more available to more people than right now. Yet at the same time, never in recorded history have we as a human race been more misinformed about what's happening in our lives. Part of that is social. I think that's what the social dilemma really hit on, is the algorithms where all you get is an echo chamber. That's all you get, because they know that's where you're going to spend more time. And when the commodity becomes us, this is the commodity that they're selling, is our attention. Then yeah, keep the rage machine going, keep spiking, uh, you know, outrage and fear. That keeps us glued, which makes them money. And it sucks. You know what I mean? And that's another, I think, good reason to unplug from time to time, in a healthy way. Unplug from your devices, and I really like what you had going on, just recently, of like, let's put some positivity back into social media, and hopefully the world, where it's not just here's the things that are, you know that are bad, you know what I mean, but yeah, here's some beauty. There's still a lot of beauty here if we just tune into it. And unfortunately, we're sort of, there's a saying that when your ears are ringing from a blast or whatever, that ringing that you hear are those cells dying, and you'll never hear that pitch again, that exact pitch, right? It sort of feels like as humanity goes deeper down this rabbit hole, we're losing our ability to see the beauty around us, and to have that community, um, care for each other, that is necessary. That's the reason we got out of the food chain. That's how we got here. You know what I mean? We were able to band together and look out for one another and build fire and share knowledge, and not just try to destroy ideas that were, a little bit skewed from our own. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's very well said, and I 100% wholeheartedly agree with it. I think that we are way down a rabbit hole, to the point where, like, people don't even recognize humanity. It's like, or they scroll by it so quickly, because it's like, it's okay, no, I got to keep scrolling. I got to keep scrolling to the stuff that I normally see, and that that I'm used to seeing, and it kind of becomes ingrained in our heads. And one of the things that I see is just people just like clawing for people's like throats, just like going after these. When you're cheering for destruction and sickness and death, I don't care, if it's your enemy or not, we are becoming the very thing that we're saying we want to condemn, in my
Right.
opinion.
Or perceived enemies, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, really your enemy? What are you talking about? How many enemies do you have? You know what I mean? Like, this is not. So
Well,
yeah, I'm
people
so,
use.
I'm so with you.
Yeah, it's like, if you're going to, you don't want to become the bully that you're trying to stop from becoming a bully.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, then you're just contradicting everything that you preach. And I see a lot of that these days, and it's very sad. Look, we all are human. We
Yeah.
make mistakes. We're going to blurt out. We're going to curse. We're going to say things we maybe, oh, oops, okay, that was bad timing.
Yeah.
I maybe shouldn't have said that
Yeah.
way. or I was mad, or I had a fight, but that's not really bullying. That's just being human. But when I see it become like cheering sections, like, yeah, I mean, I can't, like, or jokes about, like, suicide prevention month was last month. I didn't really see that many people besides, that many people really talking about it. So I kept trying to put stuff out, and I'm trying to do this. And the Be Kind, Big Love challenge was part of that, to just try to get everybody's, like, mentally a mess right now. And I figured, like, including, myself, I've been in that loop of, like, all over the place. And I think it's important that we kind of start getting our minds to recognize humanity and good and love, and spread more of that a little bit, and kind of start programming ourselves a little bit outside of this dark hole. But I think we're so programmed in a dark hole right now that it's kind of going to stay like that until everybody kind of starts shifting over. I'm, trying to shift over, because I think anybody living in that energy 24/7 is not good.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy at all. And I refuse to live in it. I just can't. I had to step back and, you know, just go into something else, because I was like, nobody could do this. Like,
Yeah.
There's a good question somebody had here for you. Let me see. How have you managed to cope with social media attention that has come your way after being on such popular shows with large fandoms?
How have I learned to cope with it? My coping mechanism is I don't block people. I don't. I feel this is a little sort of it's maybe a little mean, but I feel times people say things just to get attention. It's attention-seeking behavior, and they'll try to say something outrageous or outlandish or ridiculous, uh, completely toxic, and my thing, instead of blocking them where they know they've gotten to me, if I see it, I just fucking just roll past it. You know what I mean? Because the reality is, like, it has zero effect on my actual life.
Right.
There's none. Like, and if I hang on to that awareness, I'm like, well, who cares what this person who's using a fake name and a fake picture has to say? Because I mean, look, I can't say for certain, but there's a chance that if Twitter was around when I was 13, I might have been going on celebrity pages just trying to get attention from a celebrity by being the biggest dick I could. You know what I mean? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Like, I'm not saying that's my jam, but when you're 13, you're trying all kinds of things out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I don't block anybody. But which isn't to say, like, I don't have a point where, like, I don't respond in some way. I mean, there was one particular time where it got really ugly and felt unsafe for my family, where I had to get invited, doing a pilot at NBC at the time, which became a series. But since I was employed by NBC, some of these things came my way, and I just alerted them to it. And I was like, hey, can you guys help me with this? It was, at that time, it was a Facebook thing. There was a fake Facebook page, which there's been a lot of them, and whatever, who cares? But when one started reaching out to people that I went to, like, junior high school with, and high school with, and started using the names of my kids, saying my kids were sick and I was coming back to Detroit, and do you have any pictures of me from junior high school football? Like, weird stuff. But there's information in there that I wasn't comfortable with having, whatever. So NBC got involved, got a hold of Facebook, shut down the site, the page, and 15 minutes later there was another one with the same person.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's what they do. They just do it again.
Well, yeah, and then so we melted that one, you know, and then I got like a message on Twitter from somebody saying, "I'm the one who's pretending to be you on Facebook. What the fuck is your problem?" And I was like, screen grab, and I sent that to NBC, and they then they got Twitter involved, they got Facebook involved, and they like melted the IP or whatever they do computer wise. Um, and you know, and I went straight to lunch. It didn't, you know what I mean? Like it didn't affect my day as much as it like initially. There's that response of like that Papa Bear thing where I'm like, dude, I'm gonna fucking find you, and you know what I mean. But I was able to hold off on, you know, that sort of fight or flight instinct, and get a team involved. And as a result, that's why I wound up with the Facebook page, because, you know, I never wanted a Facebook page.
Right.
And you know, Facebook's pitch was sort of like, look, if we give you one, we'll give it a blue check mark, then people know that one's yours. And so I was like, fine, cool. And, you know, like I think I've been on it 5 times in the last 5 years or whatever. It's just, it's not on my radar, but I'm glad it's there, just to kind of stop people from thinking you know, and who know, I mean, like, you know, some of the other ones that we've had problems with on Instagram,
Yes.
some person, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl or whatever, but like consistently reaching out to women with creepy messages, and like it's just not cool. But, you know, report it, move on, make sure people understand that I have one with a check mark and that's the only one I have, and beyond that, it's like the world's got weird shit, man, and you just got whatever, you know. I can't fix all of it, I can't figure out all of it, but I got wood to chop, and I got kids to raise, and I got lunch to make, and I'm a substitute teacher, and now I'm thirsty, and you know what I mean, like it's
Yeah, it's like, you know, I mean, look, I don't get the whole fake profile thing, but I remember all of that. And I do remember I mean, the one on Instagram, they just keep coming back. The hoot of it was when they came to me. I was like, are you serious? I was like, I know him, first of all, so I know this is not him. I'm
yeah,
like, you
yeah.
messaged the wrong person today. And I was like, you know, I screen
Thank
grabbed it.
being such
It.
a big fan. Your support, I make me happy.
Yeah, I was like, what? I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, sure thing. But I still, of course, I still told you, as you know. But I mean, like, I don't know. They consistently just come back and forth. I mean, and they really need to start melting, like you said. Whatever they do, they need to start blasting the IP so they can't keep using the same IP.
Yeah,
Look, Sean said the same thing yesterday. He said when it comes to his wife and his kids, and just like you guys think the same way. When it comes to his wife and his kids, it's a whole different story. Then you become protective and defensive, and it's a different ballgame when it comes to your family. He said, I don't care what people say to me or what you have. You don't want to follow me, you don't want to agree with me or anything like that. I don't care. But when it starts coming to my wife and my kids and people start attacking, and it's like, well, who wouldn't? I mean, that's like common sense. I mean, I would get upset.
that's exactly right, and that's why I don't put my kids and my family on social media ever, because first of all, they never asked for that. You know what I mean? They don't, and everybody's got their own thing with that. Some people can handle it better. I'm too much of I'm way too sensitive of, you know, in that way, where I'm just like, I couldn't imagine, you know, my kids coming to me one day like, why did you do that? Like, what now I'm out there and I didn't want to be, you know what I mean? Like, I just can't. So it's fear-based for sure for me, but that's, you know, yeah, that's because there is a line. Like, people can come at me all they want, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. I don't care, you know.
Yeah.
You can say, you know what I mean? Like, you can disagree with me, you can tell me you don't like me, you don't like my face, whatever, you know, cool. get in line, bro. You're not the only one who hates his face. You know what I mean? Uh,
But no, I agree with you. I mean, and that's kind of how I feel. Like like I mean, we've had conversations about this before. I mean, I've gotten over. I just get some of the craziest stuff or hate, and I'm just like, and it's like, or if you're trying to help someone and they're hating on, and I'm just like, okay, I don't get it, but I'm gonna do the best I can here, because like if you're angry, I can't help you if you're just angry. So it's like, you just got to do the best that you can. And I've talked to bullies, I've talked to people that have just completely cursed me out, and I'll keep talking to you if I think that it's going to help you. But when you get to, I'm not going to let you just trash walk me, and I'm just going to sit there and be like, thanks. And, okay, let's, be, let's feed some unicorns. Like, I mean, we all have that defensive, that line where we're like, okay, well now it's like enough, like,
yeah, yeah.
now,
I'm really, inspired by the civil rights movement in the '60s, the nonviolent, John Lewis style good trouble, Martin Luther King. Um, I mean, like what they went through was bullying elevated to the form of institutional terror. And their ability to keep their composure is inspiring to me because it doesn't come natural to me. And I'm trying to evolve as a human more in that direction where I can be able to get it, I mean, figuratively, but for them it was literally get punched in the face, hit over the head for sitting at a lunch counter,
yeah,
drug out, kicked, stand back up, walk back in, and take your seat. I mean, I think that that's so powerful, and it more powerful than throwing fists back, or any of the other sort of natural responses that human beings can have. I mean, it's a really evolved philosophy, way of being. It's incredible. It's inspiring, and I hope to sort of be able to become more like that as I continue this journey on the planet Earth.
yeah, no, it is powerful. And I think the mentality there is, some of it at least, I would say, hope, based on my psychology background, would probably be like, the more you fight back, the worse it can be. And how bad do you really be? Like, if okay, it's like when you get in a fight, how do you not know that that person's not going to pull out something and kill you, and pull out a knife, pull out a gun? So I think it's almost more having the mentality of, do I keep going because this is my human nature, and this is my, how we're all going to respond, or do we respond more in like a more of a zen manner, not as in like I'm letting it go, but just more of in a smart, bigger person manner of that I don't know where this could possibly go, and there's other people to think about, and how far can the danger really take us, especially nowadays. You can't really say anything without somebody flipping a lid, and you hear it on the news all the time. I mean, simple things. I mean, we've had shootings here, insane. I mean, it's gone up insanely, and it's just like people just walking in and just a drive-by shoot. Somebody, the grocery store down the street from me, the owner, the story that was on the news about, I believe, the mother and the stray bullet went into their house. It's the owner of the grocery store down the street from me.
Wow.
And we're in a good area, and like it feels, when we felt bad and at first, but me and my roommate recognized him on the news, and it was like, it's horrific, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's just, those things are happening now. So it's like, I think it's almost like the mentality, is it really worth getting in fights with people? Because I mean, I had people tell me,
No, yeah, I mean, fights solve nothing. They solve nothing. All it is an escalation when what we're trying to do, what you're trying to do, what you've been pushing, towards is de-escalation, you know, more humanity and recognize the humanity in your within your perceived enemies. You know what I mean? And I think that's the key, right? I mean, that's
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think we all need to practice de-escalation. I don't think it's like, I think it's a human being thing. I think the more we can de-escalate, the less hate we can have, the more understanding and compassion we could have, the more
yeah.
love we can have, the more empathy. I think there's a difference between, even with people, or like you said, the perceived enemies, there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. And I think that you don't necessarily have to like everybody. Everybody is not going to like us, and we're not going to like everybody. But
Right.
and we don't have to feel sorry for everybody. But there's also, like I said, there's a big difference between sympathy and empathy.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't see any of anything. So I mean, you see it, but it's not enough. It's making people lose hope. The suicide rate is up like 200, 300%.
It's awful.
And it's not just, it's the pandemic, but it's also, I think, just the hate and the darkness of what's going on, and in social media, and just loneliness and mental health and bullying and just everything. And I think we just need to do better collectively. Just do better.
We do, and we will. I mean, I say we will. I will try. I guess that's kind of all I can guarantee. You know, like I will try, and I do try, and I'm, you know, we're all constantly evolving, and I want to be aware of that, and where I'm going towards, and where I also think that people should be allowed to start somewhere and grow from there. You know what I mean? Because sometimes the environment you come from and the place you grew up in can have an effect on things that are you're recruited into a thing that's completely unbeknownst to you. You don't even know it. Um, and I came from a place that was kind of like that. You get recruited to all kinds of mental prisons, and so I do think that we should allow people to have started from a place and grow from there. We have to leave room for people to grow, because if we don't, then instead of creating a future ally, we cancel somebody, and now they become a bitter enemy. You know what I mean? As opposed to someone who's been allowed to okay, man, well, that's where you started, but that's that may not be the sort of the most humane approach to a particular issue, and let's try to see it from a different perspective, from somebody else's perspective, and does that have an effect on you? And if it does, let's try to grow from there, as opposed to just, he gone. You know what I mean?
Yep. And that's exactly what it is right now. He gone. That's what everything is. We talked about that yesterday. And he and Sean pretty much had the same type of answer you do, and we all hope. I 100% agree as well. I think that cancel culture and all this, you do have to let people grow. If we don't allow people to grow, where do we go from here? Do we
Yeah.
just growing and just sit there, and that's it? I mean, like, life would stop.
I mean, look, it'd be amazing if we all just were born completely enlightened and remained in nirvana throughout our time here. But the human condition doesn't allow for that. You know what I mean? So we have to allow people to to grow, to evolve, and encourage that, not discourage it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and we're always pretty much on the same page. I mean, I just I think that right now there's not a lot of room. People are not leaving any room for anybody to grow, unfortunately, and hopefully that changes. I mean, I hope we're learning something. I think we're learning things within this pandemic, and to a certain extent, and then sometimes I get disappointed and think, okay, we're not learning anything, and then you know, you have hope one day and the next day it kind of like shifts around. And like I said, we're having ebbs and flows right now. Hopefully we all keep growing, and by the end of this, we all come out and have learned something or gained something, or, you know, have done, you know, something comes out of it good. And I there has to be something that comes out of this good with all the, you know, the sadness that has been surrounding a lot of stuff. I think that
I
there's
feel like this is good. Like this conversation is good. Having this conversation is good.
yeah,
You know, and hopefully this conversation leads to other conversations, you know, amongst us, amongst people watching and listening, and whatever. What time is it, by the way? Oh,
yeah, it's 6:55, so we're gonna get kicked off in a bit anyway. So
yeah, I have I can I have kids downstairs that need food.
yeah, they need food. Yeah, no, we're gonna get kicked off soon anyway. We were just gonna say soon that we have to wrap it up. And I was just gonna ask you if you wanted to say anything before we went.
I want to say thank you, my friend, for you know, the light you're trying to bring into the universe on social media and on the planet. And I'm grateful that I know you, and I'm so happy to be associated with your march to address bullying and comfort those that need it, and provide space for growth for those that need that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Mikey. And thank you for being part of Bullies Keep Out for a long time, and the ambassador, and always being there when I need you for something, and always being front and center, and just an amazing, beautiful human being. You are awesome. I adore you. And I look forward to doing more work with you, my friend. And have a good, much love to you and your family, and have a great rest of your night.
Mahalo, mama. Love you. Mwah.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.